Welcome to the Time to Fly podcast. It's time to give your business wings and take flight to achieve more impact, influence, and income with unique perspectives, tools, and tips from successful entrepreneurs and business professionals to help your business fly. Here to educate, encourage, and entertain you with their own unique perspectives and experience, plus sharing anecdotes of growing up as cowgirls. Here's your host, Nikole Haumont.
Hello, I'm your host, Nikole Haumont, here with Chrys Tran. Chrys is a serial entrepreneur, host of the Hack Your Online Business podcast, and founder of Chrys Media, a messenger marketing agency for high-ticket service providers. She has been featured on Thinkific, Buffer, the Business Hour podcast, and has spoken at conferences such as Social Media Day Houston. Originally from Singapore, Chrys runs her agency online while living in different countries such as Mexico, Thailand, the United States, and more. Welcome to the Time to Fly podcast, Chrys. I'm excited to learn more about you and what your company, Chrys Media, offers, specifically with Facebook Messenger chatbots. But first, can you tell me a little bit about your background?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Nikole. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your podcast. My background, like you said, I'm originally from Singapore. It's been a couple of years since I've been home. I run my messenger marketing agency online. You make it sound so exotic, but to be honest, I've been living in one place for pretty much the past 3 years. I've been living in Mexico City, so that's where I'm calling in from as well. But I started my career in advertising. I used to work for the largest ad agency back in Singapore, and that's where I honed my digital marketing experience in advertising, and I realized I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hated, doing TV ads and radio ads because I just knew that people would eventually move from TV to something else, right? It's not TV. So I eventually left the advertising agency and started my own business. It was a totally different business. And I did that once, it failed. I did a second one, it failed. And now I'm on my third business, Chrys Media, thankfully not failing, moving forward and finally getting something right. So that's just of what, been doing this past couple of years, how I started my career. And now I work with, mostly high ticket service providers like business coaches, life coaches, consultants, course creators to help them increase engagement and scale up the business using messenger marketing.
So tell me a little bit more about what propelled you to take that leap into entrepreneurship.
I think I was always that kid, from young who always wanted to start my own business. I used to sell football cards. I would buy it in bulk and I'll sell it to kids who just really loved football, and I would sell it to them at, 10 times the cost. And I always knew I wanted to start my own business, but coming from Singapore and being Asian and, my family were more traditional. The thing was, once you leave school, you were supposed to get, a job in the corporate career, and all that stuff. And so that's what I did. But I knew that, it wasn't the life that I wanted, because one day what happened was my account director said to me, man, I wish I was doing something different. And she was like 15 years into her career. And I was like, why don't you? And she said, I don't know anything else. And I was like, oh my God, that is depressing. Because I was like, I cannot imagine myself doing the same stuff in advertising in the next 10, 15 years. And I was like, that is the moment I should leave the ad agency. And so actually I consider career changes. Maybe I should go into marketing. Also because, the marketing people in Singapore earn more than the people in advertising for some reason, because they got bonuses and all that stuff. And so I was like, maybe I should go into marketing instead of advertising. But eventually I was like, nah, I just don't want to work for people anymore. That thing that really just bugged me was just working for clients who were like miserable and horrible and treating the advertising team badly. And so I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so eventually I just left to do my own stuff.
Congratulations on that. It is always tough taking that first step.
Yes,
so
it is.
You said you had two businesses that didn't make it. What kept you going for this third one?
I think part of it was pride. The fact that I made a huge announcement when I left the ad agency. I was like on Facebook. I did like this whole, I printed t-shirts with my new logo on it. And I was like walking around the offices and I was just like telling everyone I was starting my own business. And so when it failed, like 1 year in, I was like, I am not going back to the ad agency. What an embarrassment that would be. Can you imagine me walking back in again and asking for a job? Like, I don't want to do that anymore. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to figure out a way. And so what I did was I started to consider my finances, because at that time I was like 1 year into a new business with no regular income coming in. And I was living in Singapore, one of the most expensive countries in the world, if you guys don't know. And I was like, why am I living here in Singapore when I can actually do the same thing, run my business and try to grow it, hopefully, somewhere else that's cheaper. And so I was considering different places, and I've already lived in different places. And I was like, well, I want to learn Spanish. And so I decided, like, why not go to South America, right? And so I was traveling around and I was like, oh, Mexico looks fun. And so, that's how I ended up, because it's way cheaper over here. And so the first business didn't work out, and it really was just pride, the pride of not, telling people that I failed, and that just kind of stopped me from, giving up.
Pride can be one of those fickle things.
Yes, it can be.
So you're location independent. You're choosing Mexico City to live in right now. But as you travel around the world, what is an app or tool that you use to keep yourself on track?
The number one app that I use all the time, every single day, is Evernote. And the reason why I say Evernote is because, it's a tool that allows you to basically write down notes, stick down notes and everything. I do have an actual paper and pen that I write down all my stuff. But Evernote has been the most helpful app that I have on my iPhone, because I'm a person who constantly thinks a lot. Like I'll be listening to podcasts while out running, out cooking, doing stuff, bathing, whatever, right? I'll be listening to podcasts, and, once in a while I'll get like ideas and I have to write them down, and Evernote is on my phone. And so in my Evernote, I have like millions and millions of little notes that I'll write down, like, okay, try referral marketing, do this. I'll write it down. And then at the end of the day, I'll sit down and be like, okay, I got to try this out. So Evernote really helps me to just kind of put together all my ideas, because I'm just like constantly thinking of new stuff. And if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. So Evernote helps me to, just keep things organized, as well as plan things out. If I've got a conference coming up, I'm going to write stuff down, like my travels. I'm like, okay, today I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. I write down exactly what I need to do. So Evernote is a lifesaver for me. I cannot live without Evernote. I know there's like paper and pen, but you know what? I just lose my stuff all the time.
So Evernote is a tool that you're using consistently. And you said you travel around. You also do speaking engagements and live teachings. Tell us a little bit more about that part of your career.
The biggest thing about running a business is that you got to get yourself out there. You got to get your brand name out there. People got to know about you, got to know that you exist. And so one of the things that I really want to do was to become a speaker and to get myself in front of the target audience that I wanted to serve. And so, being from Singapore and not from the States, I honestly just didn't think it was a possibility to be able to speak at like conferences like Social Media Day Houston. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to apply, right? I'm just going to apply. I'm just going to try my best to get speaking gigs in the US, because the US is the birthplace of a lot of marketing strategies and innovation. And so I wanted to be seen as one of the top leaders in my field. And so for me, it was just all about getting my brand name out there, getting Chrys Tran out there so that more people would know about me. It's not easy at all. It is so difficult to get speaking gigs. For those of you who have tried, applying for conferences and all that, I would get like 90% rejections, and maybe like just like one or two, we want you to come and speak, at my conference. So it's actually really difficult to get, speaking gigs, but it's just one of those things that you got to do and just got to keep trying. I know a couple of entrepreneurs, from the UK and the US, and speaking is just one of those things that they use to grow their businesses. Like that's how they get their clients coming in, referrals and all that. So for me, it's just one of those things that I have to do, even though I have to fly from Mexico or from Colombia or from wherever just to go to the US just to speak. It's okay. I got to do it. It's just part of the business, right?
I would say speaking and getting to know your people is a great way to do marketing. That's one of the biggest things I believe in, especially if you're growing a local market. One more question before we go to our commercial break. Looking back on your entrepreneurship journey, what is one thing you wish you had known before you started?
I think the thing I wish I knew before I got started was that I needed to build my personal brand. So I needed to go out doing more podcast interviews, go pitch to conferences, do more, YouTube videos and all that stuff. Because what happened was when I first started my first business, I wasn't focused on building my own personal brand. I knew nothing about building my own personal brand. What I knew was running TV ads and radio ads. And I thought that, if I know that advertising, I can do, I can build a business. It's easy, right? Like I used to work for Unilever and all that stuff. So I was like, how difficult is running a business? Well, really difficult, by the way, guys. Absolutely difficult. So what I learned back then was because no one knew who I was, it was really difficult for me to get my brand out there as well, right? People were like, what's his brand? So that's one thing. I had to really just focus on building my own brand and getting my name out there. And the second thing was having a strategy. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs, we don't have a strategy, so to speak. We start a business because we either like it or we have the skills for it. And so we're like, well, I need a way to earn money, so I'm just going to go do it. And then we just don't have the strategy. And so when I first started my first business, it was just because I wanted to start my own business, be an entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. I'm going to do this. But I had no strategy. I had no strategy on how to get clients, get customers. I had no strategy on how to get partnerships. I had no strategy on how I wanted to grow my business. My competitors were VC funded. I was like one-man show, trying to do everything myself. I had no strategy, basically, no brand name, no strategy. And so if I could just kind of turn back the clock and, go back to when I first started out, man, I would have run that business so differently from what I've done back then. But the things that I learned back then for the first and the second business, they've really served me very well for this current marketing agency, because now I realize, like, you know what, just by building a website, just by, buying a domain name, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to find me, because, it doesn't happen that way, right? So I've got to go out there, and then I've got to have a strategy. What's the long-term goal and the strategy for Chrys Media? How am I going to get my clients? How am I going to use referral marketing, use affiliate marketing, use paid advertising? What do I have to do to grow this agency?
So strategy is key. And I would agree with you on that. I'm actually going through a Biz Edge competition here in our local community. And we have 15 hours of training on profit first, like how to actually make sure you're profitable before you get started. And I think a strategy, along with a strategy on how to manage your money, is going to be key for any business. I have learned so much in our first 2 sessions, and I will be talking about that in upcoming podcasts. So I can't wait to share some of that information with everybody who listens. We're going to take a quick sponsor break. And when we come back, we'll dive into the Facebook Messenger bot.
This episode is sponsored by Shield Bar Marketing, saving service-based businesses time, money, and frustration. More than just a designer, but a partner helping you develop a consistent online and offline strategy.
Welcome back to the Time to Fly podcast. I'm Nikole Haumont, here today with Chrys Tran of Chrys Media, ready to learn more about Facebook Messenger apps. First of all, Chrys, explain to my listeners, what is a chatbot?
Yeah, so a lot of people get really afraid when they hear the word chatbot. I think is this whole association with Russia and how, with the elections in the US and how bots were in place and all that stuff. So people get just really nervous about the word chatbot, or they're like, oh, that's way too difficult. It's like some technological stuff that I don't know how to code, and I don't want to touch it at all. Well, it's nothing to do with that. So a chatbot is really just, a messenger chatbot. It's really just using automation to talk to your audience using a messaging app. So whether that's Facebook Messenger, whether that's down the road, WhatsApp, iMessage, Instagram, Skype, all these messaging platforms, it's just basically using a bot to serve and talk to your audience using automation, right? That's as simple as it gets.
So how is this different than the automatic reply messages that you can set up on a Facebook page?
Yeah, so it's totally different. So what messenger marketing, let's talk about messenger marketing, right? Messenger marketing is using chatbots to create conversation. So with the whole automated response on Facebook pages, you're not having a conversation with your audience. So Facebook has created those automated responses to basically help your visitors ask those questions faster, like what's your opening hours and all that stuff. But then you have to reply, right? You have to go in and you see that people have asked you and then you reply. With a chatbot, with a Facebook Messenger chatbot, you basically set it up so that you can actually reply instantaneously 24/7 and then start a conversation with them, right? So if someone's asking you, what's your opening hours? Well, your chatbot can actually reply, hey, Nikole, we're open Monday to Friday from this time to this time. Would you be interested to check out our menu? Would you like to book a reservation? Would you like to open the Google Maps to find out where we are? So what it really is, one part of a chatbot and one part of using messenger marketing is customer service, right? So it's providing good, awesome 24/7 customer service. And so that's where it is different from the automated responses from Facebook pages. Really, that is just, there's no conversation going back and forth. It's just Facebook's way of making things easier for their users.
So with the chatbot, can you use it on the profile, the group, and the page?
No. So right now you can only use it for your business page. That is one thing that is a little bit icky for me because I've got a Facebook group and I would like to have it for the Facebook group as well, but I can only use it for the Facebook business page. However, there are ways to have it, to create a bot using and have it in the form of a ref URL, a URL. So basically a URL can go anywhere a URL can go. So what I do is I would create things like quizzes and surveys and lead gen stuff with a chatbot, and I will use the URL and I'll put it in my Facebook group so that, I'll be like, guys, you want to download this, social media marketing guide, you can do it. Just click the link. It's going to open your Facebook Messenger and you're going to download that guide inside of Facebook Messenger. So that is what I do to overcome the fact that I just cannot have it natively in the Facebook group itself.
So you take a link that you create and it goes back directly to your Messenger so you can get them in that funnel.
Exactly. And you can put that link anywhere. Like I said, LinkedIn, I have it, sometimes in my LinkedIn post, I have it sometimes on my Instagram profile as well, or my YouTube channel, I have it everywhere. So, but what I like to say is if you're going to use a link and it's going to open up in your Facebook Messenger, you got to be clear about it because no one's going to expect, why is my Facebook Messenger app opening up, right? It's so confusing because we're so used to, if I'm going to click a link, a landing page is going to open up, right? I'm going to be led to a landing page. So what I like to say is, always have a parenthesis that says that, opens in Facebook Messenger.
So how does this help getting potential customers and clients to know, like, and trust you?
I think the way that marketing is changing over the past few years, I've been in marketing for the past decade or so. And what I've seen is that with marketing, it used to be me shouting out my messages, buy my stuff. I've got a new conference coming out. Go check it out. Check out my new webinar. And I'm blasting it out to everyone, the same message to everyone. And what I've noticed over the past few years is just that people, we're just, getting more and more used to things like WhatsApp and, talking on Facebook Messenger. And so now we coined this term in our industry, conversational marketing or chat marketing, right? So you're having a conversation with your audience. And really what it does is that it basically builds this know, like, and trust factor with your target audience so much faster because you're having a conversation with them. With email marketing, I never expect anyone to reply my emails. I'll be super surprised if someone actually replies my email, even though I say reply to my email. I personally man my inbox, right? No one ever replies my emails. However, messenger marketing, when you send out a message, people read it, they click the buttons, they reply to it, they tell you and they give you, their response and all that stuff. And so there's this back and forth interaction. And so the greatest thing about messenger marketing is just the fact that we can not just build the know, like, and trust factor much faster, we can move them down the funnel so much faster as well. Because what would traditionally take me 5 emails before I actually pitch my product would now take me 5 messages going back and forth and then pitching my stuff, right? So it is so much faster. I can move them down the funnel. I can say, hey, go download my lead gen. Once they do it, once they click the button and download it, I can immediately follow up with them, in the next few hours. And I say, hey, have you checked out my webinar? Have you checked out this? What did you think about the lead gen? And they reply and then back and forth and back and forth. And at the end, I say, do you want to buy my course? Right? Really fast. And so that is one of the best things about messenger marketing that you cannot have with any other marketing channel right now, because no one wants to receive 10 emails from you on the very same day, you talking to yourself back and forth, right? No one's replying.
And all of this is automated?
All of this is automated. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to automate every single conversation you have on Facebook Messenger. You can have automation plus, live chat. And that's totally awesome because a lot of times the clients that I work with, they actually love talking to their audience, answering more profound, deeper questions about their programs, their courses, their sessions, whatever, right? And so you can use a mix of automation and then you can jump in anytime you want. If not, you can just automate the entire process.
So if somebody gets into the chatbot messenger and is having this conversation, is there a way for them to opt out of it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So if you guys have subscribed to a messenger chatbot without realizing that you're now subscribed to a messenger chatbot and you want to actually unsubscribe yourself and stop receiving messages, all you need to do is to type stop or unsubscribe. So just general rule of thumb, nice thing to do is if you have a chatbot, you might want to, actually tell them how they can unsubscribe from the messages. With email marketing, we all know we scroll all the way to the bottom, look for the unsubscribe link, and then we click on it, right? But with messenger marketing, there isn't a link that you can unsubscribe. You can scroll down and find it. It's not there. So what you have to do is you have to tell them, if you want to unsubscribe from my messages, just type stop or unsubscribe. Here's the thing I want to highlight. Don't be afraid of losing subscribers. Whether is it for email marketing, whether it's for messenger marketing, it is totally fine if people unsubscribe from your list, because you don't want to have people who don't care about you on your list. You're paying for to have them on your list, right? So you want to make sure that you make it easy for them to unsubscribe as well. And here's the thing as well. One very big thing. Facebook, they care a lot about, the overall experience. So if people start to either block your messages or report you, then Facebook's like, what's going on with this page? Why are people blocking their messages? Because people don't know how to stop and unsubscribe, right? So they're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to block this, block the message, right? And Facebook's going to be like, what's happening? So what Facebook's going to do is they're going to penalize your page. They might even shut down your page. So you don't want to do that. We don't want our pages shut down. So we want to make it very clear. You can unsubscribe by typing unsubscribe or by typing stop.
That is good to know on that. So how can you filter out those people who are ready for your offer?
So what I like to do is one of my favorite ways of knowing exactly, where they are, if they're ready to buy, if they're like really hot audience, if they're warm audience, I like to run quizzes. And this is what I recommend a lot of people do. Run like, those kind of BuzzFeed-like quizzes that everyone loves to know, those kind of stuff, right? So run them, once in a while in your Facebook groups or on your page or whatever. All they got to do is to click on a link to take that quiz, right? And every time someone, answers that quiz and they're like, how long have you been in doing business? 2 years. Okay, they click 2 years, right? Every time they do that, you tag them. You can actually tag someone inside of your Facebook Messenger, right? In your chatbot. So every answer they give you, you just tag them and tag them and tag them. So if you've got a product that's meant for someone who's just starting out, who's in marketing, who loves Instagram, you can send out, messages to people who are tagged just starting out in marketing, loves Instagram. So you can know exactly where they are. You can send very specific, and personalized messages because you can't do that with email marketing. Well, yes, you can. You can ask them questions and you can ask them to click on links in your emails. But the way that you do it in Messenger is so natural. They don't even realize that we're actually tagging them, right? Because we're just asking questions, they're answering with. So that is one way to kind of figure out like exactly where they are in that journey that you're trying to find out. Are they like warm audience? Are they like cold audience? Do they need more love and care and more lead gen stuff and more freebies to kind of build them up? So that's one way to figure it out.
That sounds like an interesting way to get to know more about them because people do love the quizzes. I'm guilty of taking them too.
I like to say, I want to know what kind of pizza I am, right? Like, don't you want to know what kind of pizza you are? Like, I want to know if I'm pepperoni, if I'm Hawaiian, if I'm margarita pizza, right? So everyone loves quizzes.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. So what do you see for the future of the chatbots? I mean, Facebook is always changing. All these other messenger apps are changing. What do you see coming up in the next year?
It's going to be super exciting because we recently had a conference for messenger marketing by one of my favorite companies, ManyChat. And what was announced is that they were going to, start to incorporate messenger marketing with things like SMSs and email marketing. I mean, email marketing, don't get me wrong, it's not dead. I love email marketing, right? So, I don't consider email marketing as a dying channel. It's a great channel to have. Use it with the other channels. So we're going to expect Instagram is going to open up the API. So what that means is that we're going to be able to start building chatbots for Instagram. Now, great for those brands who are, using Instagram right now, and they can, have this whole chatbot experience inside of Instagram, with the whole DM stuff. Expectations for WhatsApp as well. WhatsApp is obviously owned by Facebook. And so Facebook is going to have one inbox for WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. Now, what that means is that it's probably going to be, happening soon. They're going to open up the API as well for WhatsApp, right? So we can now start sending, not just messages inside of Facebook Messenger, but now we can also, retarget them with WhatsApp and then, talk to them again in Instagram, right? Isn't that amazing? Just like multiple touch points. And of course, we're hoping with iMessage, that's going to happen as well. A lot of people use, iPhones in the US. So it's going to be interesting to know that, a huge population is going to be able to receive iMessages, and that's going to be amazing. So a lot of things are going to happen, but here's the biggest thing. The way that, people are conversing with brands, it's changing. Right. So if your business hasn't already jumped on, what we call conversational marketing, messenger marketing, then you really got to, look at this marketing channel and see if you're able to converse with your audience using this type of, marketing channel, because it's not going anywhere, right? It's going to get more and more conversational, more and more messaging apps are going to come out. And so you got to really just evaluate if you're ready to adopt this marketing channel. And yeah, it's going to be super exciting. And I'm just really excited about it.
What about LinkedIn? What is going on there? Can we use this in that type of situation?
I have no idea. I'm hoping so, because I think a chatbot for LinkedIn will be awesome. But, I've been talking to some of my friends who are, LinkedIn marketers, and they are telling me that, LinkedIn is really cracking down on things like third-party tools and, automation. They're going like, really just like really being like, we're not going to allow automation at all, no third-party tools. So it'd be interesting to see if LinkedIn is going to actually allow something like a chat bot to exist on your platform next year.
Well, when you find the crystal ball and the answer, let us know.
Yeah, I will.
So what else do we need to know about chatbots?
I think the biggest thing you need to know is that this marketing channel is very different from email marketing. So if you are approaching this channel and approaching it like email marketing or like any other marketing channels, and you're just only thinking about the ROI, like, okay, what is the ROI if I were to do this? And what's the dollar ROI? Then, use Facebook ads instead, because Facebook Messenger marketing or any messaging apps out there, it's so much more than just the actual dollars and cents. It's about building relationship with your audience. It's about building engagement with your audience. It's about, moving them down the funnel, right? So even if you don't see like the actual dollars and cents to messenger marketing, when you try it out, you're like, what is the ROI? Like for every $5 I put in or whatever, like what is it bringing in me? Don't think about it as, the actual dollars and cents, right? There are marketing channels out there that is more about that, right? Like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, right? You put in $1, you're supposed to get out, $3 or $5, right? Messenger marketing, engagement, conversation with your audience. Another thing you need to know is that, like I said, it's different from email marketing. So the way you write your messages, the way you talk to your audience is so different. With email marketing, it's about long form content. You try to squeeze as much as possible in that one email, right? It's like one long story. With messenger marketing, nobody wants to read, long messages from a brand, right? It's like, who does it? Like, I don't write long messages to my friends or family. So why should a brand be writing like robots, it's just not native, right, for that platform. So when you write messages, when you send out messages, when you create your bots, you want to think about, short, messages, short sentences, emojis, GIFs, audios, videos. It's a fun platform. It's a very fun platform. It's a lot of, fun emojis and GIFs. I like to use GIFs and all that stuff. So when you're creating and when you're typing, when you're creating your copywriting, you just want to make sure that it's not long and it's like maybe maximum 2 sentences per message.
Some great tips there. Now, we're going to post all of your social media and website links in our show notes. But where can people learn more about what you do and how you can help them?
I would love for you guys to go check out my podcast, Hack Your Online Business Podcast. You can find it in iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. That's where you can find me. And of course, if you want to reach out to me, you can go to chrysmedia.com. That is CHRYS. My mom made it difficult for me. So chrysmedia.com, and you can book a 30-minute strategy call with me to talk about if we're a good fit for each other and find out how messenger marketing can help your business.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast of Time to Fly. And now it's time to give your business wings. Be sure to join us for our upcoming episode where we discuss more strategies to help small businesses and entrepreneurs grow.
A big thank you to this episode's sponsor, Shield Bar Marketing. Be sure to visit shieldbar.com for all your marketing needs.
Join our fly. Stay informed of all things Time to Fly by subscribing to our newsletter at timetoflypodcast.com. And be sure to tune in to our next show.